live. Hi, I'm the OBG and we're live. Where the hell has that gone? The thing that I promised not to lose. Jesus Christ. Oh boy. It's going to cause me all kind of trouble. Hello, Barry. Da 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 da. Hello, Martin. Hello, Angie. I'll be going live in a minute. I've lost the thing that I promised not to lose. Never mind, I'll do it anyway. This getting old is such fun. I'm telling you. Jesus Christ. Right, let's go live. Hi, I am the OBG. I need a fade out on that really, but it's just not built into my system. I could do it manually, I guess. But anyway, here I am, here we are. And I've got a special show for you tonight. I'm going to be talking about debt collectors, how to get rid of them, and why it's not unlawful. People are finding it hard. I've seen a couple of people posted on Facebook, and this used to be my area. You know, I've really got hard into it and learning about rights and so on. And I don't mean as a hobby. I mean, this was my life. So, you know, I know my stuff basically. And it could help you. You still got to have some, you know, you still got to be strong to do this because you'll be challenging a system and they send you these letters and they put big, bold writing on the front, like, you know, warning, warning, warning and stuff. And it all means nothing. It's just a letter. It's a notice. It's a piece of paper. Notice is illegal, actually, but typically they come from debt collection companies. But I'll get into that a bit later on. Hello, Emil. Hello, Maria Smith-Boros. The other topics I'll just have to do ad hoc. Plus, I'll talk a little bit about what I did today. So, welcome to the show.
Big people talk, man. You need to get involved. You might even catch a blessing.
Yeah, a little sound mess up there, but everything's right now. Yeah, just the usual stuff. It's been a great week. Today's Sunday. Everyone's back to work on Monday. In Valencia, we're in the grip of Las Fallas. It's the Fire Festival. It's the second biggest festival in Europe after Notting Hill Carnival. It's a fantastic event, absolutely amazing. A bit noisy for me now. It's a sign that I'm getting old. Talking about the neighbours, you know, making so much noise until 3 a.m, or even this morning. I don't know what time they started, but I was still asleep at 9:30, 9:45. I'm stirring to Madonna, and they're playing really loud music downstairs. And it's fun, I guess, but because I'm putting so much work into my project and then sleeping at odd hours, this is going to disturb me this year. I know that for a fact. So, let me talk about something that is dear to me. It's about the hippies and the New Ages first, because I was talking to someone about maybe 3-4 days ago, and although they didn't say this directly, it's what they were alluding to, and it's about them trying to educate me about karma as they see it. So I just can't see it. So let me try. And this is what I said to them more or less. So all the starving people, all the impoverished and the women who are victims of daily violence, they're simply receiving karma because they did something bad in their past lives. And those who are dying of starvation and those who have lost their homes and lost their way of life due to corporate interests, they have nothing to worry about because the universe will provide. If only they would believe in that more. And, you know, for those people, I see them, they're flying around the world to go to the hippie parties in the desert, you know, paying tons of money. They're going to the forest to party or in the city, you know, and they're not neglecting their duty as a human being then. That means because, you know, they're simply being rewarded for being fabulous in a previous life because karma's given them all the right stuff. I think not. Anyway, that's that one over. I just wanted to share it. So I'll move on to something else which I kind of considered this week as well, and it's in my head. Hello, John. And that's about freedom. Now, you know, we have to define freedom amongst us if we are to agree on what it is, basically. But my view is that even if people were released, from their chains right now, and somebody said to them or us, that we're free to go, do what we like, most people wouldn't want to return. Wouldn't want to return to freedom. They'd want to go back to the lives that they already knew. And now a lot of that's through fear and it's through lack of knowledge. And I talked about this in the video on the OBG show regarding Plato's allegory of the cave. So if you go to the OBG chat channel on YouTube and look for Plato's cave allegory, it's quite an interesting video, if I say so, because I've taken the allegory and I've related it to modern day, to Facebook and how we're locked into social media and so on. So going back to us, the information age, which we're living in now, has created a massive movement that doesn't believe in things that are non-obvious. We've got the flat earthers, fake moon landing people, climate change, fake news. And while the divide is uncomfortable for those who want to hold on to the facts that we were raised with, it's a breath of fresh air for those who want change. And we hold on to most of our truths for various reasons. And the most common being to hold on to our sanity and to give us purpose. And we also feel secure when we create barriers that put things safely into little boxes, when in fact, everything is analogous and it's a continual stream of everything. And another reason why it sucks, I won't get into that right now, is time. But access to information means that we gain more knowledge and we'll be able to make more choices, even if they sit outside the defined truths. So we have to keep on thinking and we have to keep on thinking. But the downside to that complete freedom is that we let go of an instilled coherent shared reality, which is useful for working as a community, and that serves at so many levels. It doesn't mean it's good, but it is there. So in the opposition to the connected reality, I believe that it's been compromised and it has been masterfully controlled by a very few ruling elite families that have taken charge of the Earth's resources and of our labour and the means of production. And that means that they live healthy, wealthy lives protected by ordinary men and women who swear an oath to them in exchange for pay. And those people are the military, the police and government bureaucrats. And they also serve to keep us in line, aided by a powerful media that controls film, TV, radio and of course the newspapers. Now, not believing in the non-obvious is a massive shift, and I get that, and it's a part of any societal change, and its effects could lead to a realisation of the spell that we live in under, and this is why we have to keep on shedding those beliefs that we were taught and opening our minds to the new beliefs, because otherwise we're held in servitude. And I say it's time to set yourself free and to think differently. Why? Because I am the OBG. Right, okay. So, hello Thomas, hello Elizabeth, hello Steve, John, Stubbs. Right, when I talk about setting yourself free, let me just stay with that a minute. I don't mean like, people go, no, I'm just me, and I just got this free thinking mind and everyone should think like I do and they don't agree. And when I say not too free, be as free as you like, really. Who am I? I'm just me. But whenever you intend to share your life or even a moment of your life with other people, you have to change. Because how can you have a successful, meaningful relationship if you keep insisting that somebody just loves you for what you are? I hear that all the time. You just got to love me for what I am. In that voice too, you got to love me for what I am. You just got to accept me for what I am. No. It doesn't work like that. You do what you do. No one should tell you what to do. But change happens, whenever we initiate a new association. And that's replete with terms and conditions. That's just the way it works. And if we deny the existence of change and we lack dynamism, then we remain in stasis, which in many instances creates a compulsion to control the things and people around us in order to preserve our status quo. And like all interactions, we have to learn to navigate a new latitude in time. And if we abstain from such acts as yielding, leading, negotiating and learning to live in harmony with our counterpart, to which we can ascribe the idea that if someone that closely resembles us, especially in function, but perceives differently, thinks differently, has different needs, desires, and different ideas, then we have to learn to accept that. And the relationship isn't bound to prosperity. It becomes an appropriation of that which we desire. So think hard before you jump ship in your current relationship and jump into your next relationship. Every interaction that we make means that we have to modify our behaviour. We can't just be us once someone else is involved in our lives. It really is that simple. You heard it here first. I am the OVG. Right, going back to a little bit of mirth now, because I don't want to keep everyone on a Debbie Downer or a Donny Downer. Come on, why women all the time? So, today when I was in town, I saw this woman tug her kid. Now, if you have got children, you'll understand this, because we've all done it. If anyone denies this, you're lying, right? But, I'm not talking about beating your kids, smacking your kids, beating them up, and even then, I think you've got to give your kid a little, a little fucking pat every now and then. But have you ever tugged your kid? Now, people with kids will understand this. It's like your kid needs a big shouting at, and people go, "I don't shout at my kids." Everyone shouts for their kids. It's just a fact. We do it, right? You have to. Your kids start testing you at some point, and those little whispers just stop working. Look. The reason that I need you to do this is because, look, go to your room. You've all done it, right? And if you haven't, good luck. But the one I'm talking about is tugging kids, or the death grip. And I saw it today. This is what made me want to talk about it. So you whisper your command to your kid when you should be shouting. And the thing is, it's often through embarrassment. Like your kid's playing up, right? The only kid, there's like 30 kids at this party or in the school playground or in the playground, and there's all these other adults around, and there's a kind of hidden competition that we go through. And even though you may deny it, that's because your kid hasn't played up. But when you see someone else's kid, proper playing up, you're like, oh, at least it's not my kid. That's what I'm talking about, because we're competitive on a level. So when your kid does it, what you do, instead of giving them the shout, because there's other people around now, and I don't shout at my kids, so you get your kid and you grip them really hard. You go, now listen, you stop, and you whisper it to them. And it's like, whispering doesn't work. We all know that already. You've gone past that stage. They've gone past that stage. So what you do now is the death grip. Or you tug them, you give them that tug. It's a tug. You'd floor a man if you tugged him that hard. But what you do, you grip that kid and you say to him, now, you listen now, you stop playing up or I'm going to take you straight home. And you whisper to them and it just doesn't work. And you try to convey all of your anger in that death grip. And the worst thing that happens with that is your kid looks at you and goes, what? Or even worse, they go like, why are you squeezing my arm? And I saw it happen today in Spanish, in full Technicolor. So, it's just a memory. If anyone else has done it, say so or forever hold your peace. So that's about beating your kids. Yeah, I thought I'd get that off my chest. So I'm going to get into the juicy bits. I'm going to be talking about getting rid of debt and debt collectors right after the break.
You not heard of the OBG? Big people talk, man. You need to get involved. You might even catch
Chris.
a blessing.
Hello, Angela. I think you went in and out again. I thought I saw you earlier. I think I said hello to Isusha. I'm not sure, but hello, Isusha. And Nicolas Cage. Beautiful. That's the best name. Well, it was my favourite name, actually, Nicolas Cage. But Hans Sandwich, that, which a friend of mine done. I don't know why, it just tickles me. It's one of my favourite internet names. So, I always keep claiming I'm content. And I'm not trying to bullshit people. I'm not saying, like, oh, I'm really happy. I'm not living that hippie bollocks and that, like, pure, living in complete bliss all the time. That's just like masturbating all the time, for going for a high. And people say you've got a problem, you need to see a doctor. It's the same with happiness. Oh, I need to be happy all the time. I need to be fed positivity. And it's like, ride you down, because it doesn't last forever. And for those it lasts forever for, then they get affected and they're ill. And we need to help those people, we treat them. So, it's about trying to find a balance. But part of the secret of my contentment, I say, and I learned this many, many, many years ago, was about how to clear up debts and so on. And this isn't about freeloading or getting away with anything. And I've got to say that living in modern times is challenging, and sometimes people fall over. And some can make good with a fresh start, but the system would rather destroy them, even see them homeless. And it's important to learn to fight back, because there is a them and us. It really is that clear. So how do you get rid of debt collectors? It really is this simple. And not everyone's got into debt, but people do get into debt, and they think it's noble to pay it off, and it isn't. Do you know what I mean? It's like you've had a tough time in your life. You live in a system that's been created to hold you in with money, and you fall over because you don't know the game. You can't play their rules. They keep on selling you more stuff, and it's not your fault that you buy it, or we're consumers. We're victims to it at times. And I don't mean play the victim. What I mean is, they use every kind of psychological mean possible to get us to purchase more and more goods. But if you do get a debt collector send you a letter, then the basic idea is that you ask them to prove that you have a debt. Now, a debt collector hits a massive problem at this point because in a court, they will have to produce a contract signed by them and you as concession to the debt. And they'll have to produce a statement of account proving that they actually gave you something. And because the agency purchased the debt from the people you owe the money to, your original contract is complete at the point of sale. So they can't produce any contract. Complete at the point of sale, so they can't produce any contract. And they also can't produce a statement of account to the value that they're trying to hold you accountable for, because they bought it for normally 1 penny on every pound owed. Therefore, the court cannot lawfully assign the debt to you without these documents. And it is law, both common law and contract law, that these documents exist. Now, debt collectors, they hate this tactic because it draws them into a tacit agreement. That means that they have accepted that you owe them nothing, and therefore they can't get the money from you. And it may well be sold to another company, which is a practice they do, where you can assert the same technique to get them to disappear. Because if anyone has been in debt, and I have, and done it deliberately to test things, and I've also just done it because things weren't working out, and you get a letter from James's, debt collectors, and then you just refuse to pay it. The next thing you get one from another company. Now that company plays hardball. They're normally criminals. They're tough, like thuggy families. If you see them in a lot of areas, debt collectors and bailiffs, they work hand in hand. And what they do is they've got a debt for, like £500. They buy it for 50 quid or, £100, 250, and they just try and get that money back from you. And they can get some losses because they're getting them for cheap enough. But if you won't pay them, then they'll pay it to they'll sell it to the next company for like £70, whatever. So they'll make some money on it anyway. Now that company's going to try and get the £500 off you. But it's the same thing. The debt has been paid for at point of sale. They bought your debt already. It's been it doesn't exist anymore. So if it happens the third time, then you should firmly state that all record of this debt be stricken from the record. It's 3 letters that happen, and quite a few debtors have had all black marks removed from them using this tacit agreement method. And should they take you to court, and they really do, then you keep yourself in the realm of common law and you ask to see the 3 documents presented to the court. And the case is going to be dismissed because the judge cannot sign any declaration or pass judgment under oath without seeing the original documents of proof. It really is that easy. You heard it here first. I am the OBG. And also, it's not lawful. I'll get back to that in a minute, just after the break. Let's do this one. Oh, no, I wasn't angry. I done that one with love.
OBG.
So, yeah, you've got to get into your mind, and it's hard because some people don't know the difference between lawful and legal, but it's not unlawful. There's not much that we actually do that is not unlawful. Anything illegal is simply a breach of contract. That's the way it works. That's maritime law stuff. And that's a breach of contract between you and the ruling body that works on the assumption that you agree to all their terms and conditions. And that has to be a signed contract. Otherwise, they try and do it by tacit agreement. And do not treat it as a unilateral contract neither. You have to state your terms and conditions whenever you're challenged. And this de facto government, and it is a de facto government, has no real power. And it's like the little old man, behind the curtain in The Wizard of Oz. It's all smoke and mirrors. And there's nothing much more to learn. Don't get too caught up in learning legalese or studying volumes of law, deciding what paper you've got to write it on and what colour ink you have to get, write your documents in. And also don't get too caught up in those freeman movements that you see everywhere, which has been hijacked by angry boys, and they're competing and fighting each other to kind of share who knows the most about the law that they're trying to beat by using its own system. You are a free being. You have natural inherent rights. They're very few, but they're everything. And not being allowed to dance, to trade, to eat, to drink, to exchange your labour, or to take part in any performance that allows you to sustain yourself in itself is unlawful. And this is why we fight. I am the OBG. Right, I just went off on one tonight. I hope you liked it. If you've got any questions, fire away. If you want to talk about any of those subjects also, then feel free to do so. Hit me with it. Hello, Dan. Good to see you. Don't answer the door as well. That works. You don't have to let them into your home, by the way, for anything. Hello, Rogan. Hello, Nicola Skage. Thanks for saying that. Yes, sound advice. And hello, John Collins. Yeah, because some people, they get afraid of it and they think, oh, it doesn't work and so on. And that's how strong the brainwashing is. You know, you imagine, well, not even imagine, it's just the truth. We're born into a system that we learned everything about from a very, very early age. And when you say to someone, like, you don't have to do that. They go, oh, no, you have to fill these forms in. I'm like, I don't fill forms in. But you have to sign that or they'll fine you. I go, they won't fine me. They won't get their money from me. I'm a human being born on this planet. I'm a free, single individual. Came from my mother. And these people are saying to me, excuse me, you've got to fill these forms in. I'm like, what for? Well, you've got to fill them in. We want people to fill them in so that we can just have your information. No. And you have to have that strength of, belief in yourself. Just no. Ever since I was a kid, my mum used to come at the door with the census and go, something. My mum she used to cuss on someone. I was a little bit embarrassed once or twice. Like, Mum, don't be so hard on them. And then I learned, no, you don't have to do none of that stuff. You don't have to do anything. And all it boils down to at the end of the day, they'll try and use their might. They'll try and find you. And it's like, how can you find me for not doing something that I don't have to do? And when you start thinking like that, then you understand that, wow, there's not much you have to do. In fact, all you have to do is be good to each other, and you do that anyway. You don't have to do that by law, even though we have got it kind of written down as, don't harm anyone, don't do fraud in business, and don't, do damage to property, the 3 rules that I always keep talking about. And that covers everything, and we've got a lot softer now. So, there's a little kind of additions to it, because if you say don't harm anybody, also means, don't just go around calling people names as a big group and pointing and whatever. You're still causing harm to that people. But, now it's like, he said that guy's gay. And it's like, oh, God, he's a homophobe. It's like, no. He doesn't dislike gay people or anything. He just thought he'd say it because he finds that insulting, even though he doesn't hate the people. And someone called him, a nigger, and someone called her a whore. And it's like, they're just trying to harm that person. They're trying to say something which they know is going to affect that person, but they don't hate the people that, for whatever term they're using. And so we have to be careful about not making new laws, which we are doing. Oh, hate crime. It's like we're protected by law anyway. There can't be a hate crime. The law exists. Do not cause harm to anybody. So if you go and beat someone up because they're black or they're white or because they're gay or because they're a woman or because, they're tall or spotty or whatever, you're still breaking the first rule anyway. You've causing harm to somebody, and you get, we decide as a society that we punish those people. But say, well, no, it's not just an ordinary hurt someone, it's a hatey hurt somebody. And for that, we're going to frown upon it, even more. And then that just creates greater divide between us. It's like, look, he punched that guy in the face. There's a penalty. Oh, no, but he done it because he's Greek. Oh, he doesn't like Greek people as well as the violence. And what purpose does it serve? Do you know what I mean? And we can't legislate hate and racism away. Those are ideologies. And I'm going to talk about that, actually. Let's do this.
You not heard of the OBG? Big people talk, man. You need to get involved. You might even catch a blessing.
Right, I forgot what I was going to talk about. I do that every time I press the button. You can see, this is what happens, right? When that graphic comes up, you guys will see the graphic appear, and it lasts for the length of the time my finger goes across the screen, right? And I'm like this in the background. What can I talk about? I know. Right. And then I've forgotten. Someone's going to have to remind me, and I'm not even joking. I've had a really long day, and when I'm tired, my memory is total crap. I actually forgot what I said I was going to talk about just less than that, 8 seconds earlier. Okay, so let me talk about Elizabeth. Not harming and being nice. That's a large chasm to breach, or chasm, do you say? Yeah, I guess so. And some people don't see it like that, you see? And we have gross apathy and indifference. And that's the other thing. People can't be bothered. They can't be bothered to teach themselves because we've been nannied for so long that we've forgotten that we are the people, we are sovereign, we're in charge of ourselves. They say, oh, you're not allowed to do that. And, somebody call a security guard, someone call the police, someone call someone. And it's like, no, you should know that yourself. If there's a problem in your town and someone's raising hell, then the men really should get together And women where they can, but I mean, like typically, if it's physical and someone decided, okay, the men typically have more physical strength. If they're strong women, they jump in as well, and you apprehend that person and you make them stop. But you don't just sit there and say, look, this guy's hurting people. Let's just wait until the police come along. We police ourselves, and we police ourselves successfully. And the proof in that is that you don't see police anymore. You don't see police. And this is in the UK anyway. We don't see police anymore. Elizabeth's from the States. We used to see police in uniform, but we have secret police now. And people are forgetting that. And they just say, oh, there's been cuts. So you don't see police on the streets. I know they're all plain clothes. They're all in there amongst us, little slippery cunts they are. And I hate the fucking police. The police are animals. Baby, I want you to know. And, they belong to a gang of really fierce, vicious men who live outside of the law. And even if they haven't done anything to me personally for a while, I still hold that, that stance. It needs reform. But we police ourselves. And by that, what I mean is the police eventually come, and we need some kind of peace officers, some members of our society that we trust that we can call on, who live by a strict code of rules. So we can say, look, we've got a problem here, can you sort it out? And they're an independent body, which means that rather than me going and breaking up the fight in my town for the guy who's causing trouble, then it comes back to me personally, he's going to have to deal with that force. I don't think force is the right word, with the peace officers, and he's going to be reluctant to want to have to try and take them on because they're a force to reckon with, But for me, one-to-one, he could still come around and fight me because I'm just another man, and then you'd have that feuding going on still. So I think we have some measure. We need some measure of control. Even if we rotated them, okay, you can police your town for 2 years, and then you rotate and you go and get a proper job afterwards. But or you even do it part-time, but not this corrupt system of brothers and fathers and sons and daughters. It's just bent out of shape. Hello, Kimmy. Hello, Rosita. God, it's giving the game away. Rosita's come in the room. Yeah, the council tax one's a really hard one, Rosita, because you can get away without paying the council tax. I've never paid council tax in my life. In fact, when I say never, never, ever, I think when I was staying at someone's house, they sent a letter to that house and they claim they're not tracking anybody. I had no record there, bar my bank account. I changed my bank account details. So the debt collection agencies are working with banks. And other than that, I've just never, ever, ever paid poll tax. And some people argue and say, like, oh, you don't pay your taxes, man, you're freeloader. I'm like, fuck off. I said, like, that's built into a system like that. Sorry, I'm a bit sweary tonight, people, but that's built into a system. I know what to do. I shouldn't have kept the rum in there, should I? Laugh from last night. I think it's funny anyway. Everyone just thinks I'm an alcoholic. But we. I've lost my mind again. I don't even know what I was talking about. Police, slippery guns. Council tax and paying the debts. So I've never ever paid. And what I see myself as, self-styled, whatever society I live in, I give back. For all the money that I earned while I wasn't paying any tax in England or poll tax, I earned it myself. I didn't go and get a 9-to-5 job, and I'm not against anyone doing that. I know I frown when I say it, but I earn my money. I go out and earn it, however I earn it. And when I want a contract to earn the big money, because I'm a really highly skilled computer guy, then I go and take a contract. And I pay tax in those cases, sometimes, depending, because as a contractor, if I do it my own way, I get all the money at the end of the week from the company I'm working for, and I have to fill in forms which I don't do and pay tax on it, and I don't. But sometimes I just need a quick contract, and I use an umbrella company. And that umbrella company, they take the tax out and pay it for me and then give me, what's left over. And typically, I'm on just a dirty fat wage anyway. I'm just like, you know what, I'm on fucking £1,800 a week. If they take like £400 on, 40% tax or whatever, if they're going to take that out, I don't care. I've got £1,000, £1,100 a week in my hands. It's too much money anyway. I don't care what tax they take out of it, but typically I won't pay it. I'm not going to go out and toil and give someone, I'm not going to pay for the Queen's children's wedding or, for bombs or just for anything else. And what I do, however, that money, it doesn't go offshore like the politicians and the people who are supposed to be protecting the country do. It doesn't go into hidden accounts, no. It doesn't go and fund terrorists or anything. It goes to the local mini cab services. It goes to the supermarkets. So it means that Lord Tesco or whatever and other millionaires, they're still getting that money anyway, and they don't pay their taxes. Do you know what I mean? And it just goes back into the community. The drug dealer, local drug dealer, like the free the entry to get into like an illegal party and so on. And mind you saying that, I was thinking about this yesterday. I was treated so well in the UK because I never had to pay to get into illegal parties for a hell of a lot of my life, which is quite cool. And I know it sounds like a bit trivial, but it was like that social credit thing I talked about the other day. I thought, people are good to me on the underground scene in London. I've been around for so long, and then I don't have to pay. But that's something else. So the £15 that I saved maybe to pay to get into a party, or the £25 if it's psytrance, that goes back into the community anyway. But it's not going directly from me to go to pay for bombs or to, pay for any other corruption. So no matter how much tax I don't pay, I'm still putting something back. It's still just going back into the system. It's just funneling through me and going back out. I've never ever held on to anything illicitly. It just goes straight back in. So Warren Bell, there is no debt because there is no lawful money. The people of the nation are the credit, and our signature gives any instrument value. Banks don't lend money, we create the asset. No, I know more than Professor Richard Werner anyway, but thanks. No, I understand. But people just saying, watch these people and so on. I'll take a look. I don't want to sound like rude, to be honest. I'm rude about these things sometimes because I'm a bit dubious. Everyone keeps pointing in these links, and regardless of learning all that stuff, there's a system in place. We know that. And just to keep saying, money hasn't got any value and stuff. Of course it has. How are you paying for your internet connection? How are you paying for your phone? How are you paying for stuff? And it requires a rethink. But yeah, truly there is no debt. We're just these slaves. It's just like Matins, like producing. They give us some of this, and then we have to give it back, and so on. It's been bastardized, misused, and a lot of that's to do with usury anyway, because we have to have some kind of exchange system. No matter what people are saying, money, we need some kind of system, because barter doesn't work after a while. You give me bread, I give you fish. I do some sewing for you. You do give me some carpentry. In the end, all my things are fixed. I'm fed up of fish. What else can I exchange? So we need a token, and you say, right, this has a value, and then you can get what you want with it. You can get fish, or you can get, something. So money money gets created anyway. It's just that it's corrupt. It's bent out of shape. And one of the main reasons for that is usury. And also the banks with the, giving fake money and stuff like that, of course. And when I say fake money, but the method they use by us raising the money with our signature and then double dipping and selling bonds and so on. And it's an area that I've studied for like 25 years. But it will exist. It's just a usury. It's like, okay, I've got 100 of these units, which I've exchanged over time. I'll give you 5 until you earn 5, but you have to give me 7 back. And this is what banks do. It's like you live on an island. Let me use an island analogy. Let's do this. Hi, I'm the OBG. Let's do an island analogy and money. Supposing you live on an island with 100 people. Now on the island, there's a bank. And the bank says, right, we're going to give everybody £10. If I mess up on the maths, let me know, by the way, anybody. So now there's £1,000 in existence. Everybody has £10. Now, on the island, some people, eventually, are going to have more pounds than the other people. Maybe some people spend, they're frivolously, so they're going to have less money. Others, they know how to save. So what they do is they take the money that the frivolous spenders are spending and they hold on to it. And then you've got the people who are more industrious, and they're service people. They come around and say, we'll cut your lawn for you if you give us some of your money, blah, blah, blah. And there becomes kind of an imbalance in the end. So what happens is some people on the island, and this is where the problem lies. This is a system where some people have less than others and some have a lot more than others. But the banks, they actually lent £1,000 to the people on the island, and that's all that exists in the whole world on the island. But the bank wants 1,200 back. And there lies the problem. Just look at it on a bigger scale. So the 200 doesn't exist. So now those people on that island, they're trying to find that 200 and it doesn't exist. And it just creates poverty, it creates unrest, and it creates an unsustainable system. So what the bank does on top of that next, it says, well, if you haven't got the money to pay back, we'll lend you more money to pay back the 200. So it's almost like they go, look, here's another, bit of money, so you can pay the 200 back, but now you owe them the money that you borrowed, and it just creates this cycle of madness. And this is a cycle that we live under. So once again, just to say, money isn't the issue, it's the banking and the usury, which is the real problem. But I'll take a look at the book or the video, whatever it is you suggested, Warren. If you want to put the effort in, maybe go on to YouTube now, find a link and then post it up, and it'll be easy for me to click on it afterwards and to take a gander after the show and maybe watch it during the week. Okay, that's that. You like that one, Nick, did you? All my things are fixed and I don't like fishing anymore. Right, so let's have a look. They wanted £700. Yeah, and the thing is, for most people, we end up just having to pay them. There's no real easy get-out clause in the sense of you just say, right, I'm not paying it, because you can say, you have to learn more, because I've tried to help people with the lawful stuff in the past, but they're not willing to put the effort in. They say to me, help me with a parking ticket, help me with a bailiff, help me with this, and I go, look, I'm willing to help you, but I didn't get here just by asking someone. I had to keep on studying and studying. And the more I studied, I became more confident in myself. And I learned how to challenge them. I appear in court. I write letters to, companies, to courts, and, whatever. And I believe in myself. But these people, they just go, oh, can you help me? I go, well, look, you've got to not just write one letter. So I'll help you with the first letter, but you've got to go and do some study. And then you'll know how to write the second letter. And 95% of the people I help, they come back and go, oh, I've got another letter back. What should I do? And I go, you've not even studied. Otherwise, you would have known. All you're doing is you're waiting for me to help you. And what I've done is during that, period, whatever it was, a couple of years, I didn't mind at first because it was new to me. I helped like 500 people for zero. And then when I did build a website and I put up all the information, yeah, I'm bitter. Hold on. Yeah, and then when I built a website, put all my love into it and designed it and put up everything I'd learned over 8-9 years by then. After a year passed and thousands of people were coming and taking the documents that I've had, I'd handwritten, I typed with love and so on. At the end of the year, it cost something like £100 to renew the 1 year service, or 125, whatever it was at the time. And I put a request out on the website. I said, look, in order to help the website run, start making donations. And I was hoping, well, for 20,000 people who were reading my documents, if everyone just gave me like a percentage of a penny, it could pay for it. If some people gave me £1 or £5, whatever, then I would continue running the service. I don't want money for me. I look after myself. But so you guys can have this website running to support yourselves. No one did. You know how much I got? £10. £10 off one woman gave me £10, and that was it. And as I said, that couldn't even go back into the system because I was mean. I've got over it now. It took me a while, but I just said, right, that's it, and I just cut it off. I didn't bother with it. And the point is, you can give people stuff all day long for free, and they'll just keep on taking it because we've got this greedy mindset. We're savages. You know what I mean? If you said to people, look, there's this storage facility that keeps bread fresh. You can go in and have as much bread as you want, and you can go there as often as you want. People would go in there and they would load themselves up with bread on day one. They'd take so much of it that it would go off. They wouldn't go, let me take 2 loaves. He did say he can come back and then go back and take another 2 tomorrow. And that's our kind of mentality. And we need to change that. We really do. Hello, Antonella Mastriani. Hello. Oh, Christ, I might have got all the numbers in there. Is that some secret code? Do you love me? Oh, Nick does. Hey, that worked. Hello, Ronnie. Good to see you as well. Hey, Atena. What? My Spanish isn't that weird. Okay. I think we've done it tonight. We've covered the stuff. As I said, I don't really help people with all this stuff anymore. I've been to court. I've won all my battles. It proves to me that there's all it done really. It's proved to me that one, I learned my stuff and I could challenge the system. But what I learned beyond that is that we're held in place with violence or a threat of violence. And if you get up to a particular level, and I wasn't afraid of the violence, to be honest. I don't like violence and I don't like pain. But what I mean is, I think it's not that important to me. I could go up and try and champion everybody and get up to a really high level and learn everything there is to learn about law and the system and say to everyone, oh yeah, be like me, do this. But one, it took me like 20-something years to learn it. And it's like people just haven't got that time. So what I'll do is I'll go, okay, I'll champion you. I'll go and do it. I'll fight the fight. And then now I become the target. And people think, oh, this doesn't happen. You're thinking fantasies. No. It does happen. If you reach a particular level and you seem like any kind of threat, it's not about them killing you necessarily, but they just make your life uncomfortable. They'll have your car registration, where you work, your route and that. You'll either get police hassling you all the time. That's one of their favourites. Or if you are a real threat, they'll just get boot boys to smash you and it'll make it look like it was some attack. You even cut your pipes on the brakes on your car if you go way too high. And I'm not talking once you've been established and like you're a figure now and you've got security, or they don't want to make a martyr of you. I'm talking about all those people who keep on stepping up, and then suddenly you don't see or hear of them anymore. And it's not that they've been killed. I'm not trying to go down that hard conspiracy route, but their lives become hell, and it's easier for them to step away. Now, for me, it's not about, as I said, being in fear, but there's nothing in my life that I want to do to that level. I've got a life to lead, and I don't want to sit there studying everything about how the system works so I can explain it to other people. It's like, what I did learn is that the system's bent out of shape, it's corrupt, they will hurt you or kill you if you try to spoil their game, and that's all I needed to learn. But it took me that journey to learn it, and I pass it on to everyone else. So I say, be good to yourself, be good to other people, find a balance in life, because it's like living in a jail, as I said before in another show, and you can be happy there even though you're living within those confines, because they give you enough bread and water anyway. And if the walls are too high to climb, if the guards are too tough to beat, and the bars are too tough to get through, have a party in your cell, invite your friends in every now and then, and live within those confines, unless you're willing to fight. And this is what revolution's about, and everyone's bloody afraid of that. Oh, they want to get messy, They don't want to turn it on. They don't want to come and stand, shoulder to shoulder with me and fight, because fighting's not the best way at all. It is a way, though. And the other way, which is very difficult for people, is just to walk away, step away from it. Say, I'm not doing this anymore. Stop paying your bills, stop paying your taxes. And you think, well, where will I live? How can I live? And it's like, that becomes part of the plan. We will just say, like, right, we the people, we're taking this land. We want this land here. They're not going to send an army in to kill you. Everyone just says, no. Or the house I live in, I've paid enough on it. I'm not paying you 3 times worth the value on it. I've paid this, and if everybody come and done this, or people have done it en masse, as they were doing in Ireland about not, paying mortgages and so on, they can't touch anybody. But everyone gets afraid, because what they do is they beat someone up or they kill somebody, and everyone's like, oh no, this is getting really serious, and everyone backs off. But when people are ready to go, they'll go. You look at any revolution in history, whether it's men, women, whether it's about sex rather, whether it's about race. Religion's a bit of a tough one, to be honest, so I don't really go there. Or just someone being set free, someone's taken someone's land. When it comes to the crunch, people aren't afraid. They will fight with sticks against guns. They will fight with their fists against, tanks or whatever. But you can get pushed so far. But what our system does to us, the people who are running our show, what they do is they push us really close to the edge. And when it looks like we're going to kick off, they're like, right, someone spotted Maddie. So everyone's reading the shitty newspapers. Oh, they've spotted Maddie again. They put out some big distraction. And they are distractions. People forget. They think, oh, it's all made up. And it's like, it's not. You look at the history for the stuff that we do know, and whether it's like the Germans burning, what's the name of the building they burnt during the Second World War, Hitler, or, like Pearl Harbor, or 9/11. It's a more modern one for you. You know, any major event that happened, you think this is all state, state controlled. And what happens is we're looking over there and we forget to fight. But what they've been doing recently, I've noticed, is pitting us against each other. It's like they've got everything in place for when we're getting close together, and then suddenly they go, the people are starting to realise it. People are, like waking up. I don't mean like get woke. I mean like people are starting to realise, and they just turn everything up a little bit. And what I've noticed is, wow, people are getting pro-white recently. People are getting pro-black. People are getting pro-woman, pro-man. People are getting their religion. People are getting pro-everything. And all it does is all these divides are happening. And we're failing to get together. I saw a woman with a T-shirt on today. Fight me about this if you will, if you need to, just so I can hear your perspective. You won't change my mind. You could. I can't see it. Today's International Women's Day, and I think it's fantastic. I saw two kind of angry-looking women, and it was like the future is female, and I was like, there you go. You know what I mean? It's like, it's your day, have a good day, but we've got this divide. If I walk around with a teacher, and I'm not doing this because of competing with women, what I'm saying is, can you imagine, me walking around with a t-shirt, the future is male, and it's just like, how much hate would I have for myself or women without understanding that we've got to do this together? Do you know what I mean? We can't keep relying on scientists to make test tube babies and so on. It's like we're meant to, couple up. We don't have to live together necessarily, but the future's male and female, and to see that divide there really it saddened me a little bit today, but it lasted for about 0.2 seconds because there was 1 million people in town today. I'm telling you, it was amazing. That's Fias is on International Women's Day. Then they had this big protest after women. It was related, but it wasn't about International Women's Day. Maybe they took an opportunity to do it on that day, but it was about sexual liberation, sexual education, and violence against women and so on. But it wasn't Women's Day. They had different colour clothes on and everything. But it was packed. Everybody in town went. My phone ran out. I took photos with my camera, but I'll have to put those into the computer first. But anyway, just to say, we've all just got to love each other. Oh, God, I know I say it all the time, and I mean it, because if we love each other, or try to at least, then it does make a smooth ride, regardless. You don't have to change anything about yourself, but if you love yourself first, then you learn to love everyone else. Learning to love yourself. Should I make it a sing-song show? Right. The basics of the system is really easy, as you say, mate. Nick, you know this as well. So you just know the basics, and that's it. Everything else on top of it, it's just dressing. So when a lot of people say, you should read this and study this and know this and learn this, I'm like, no. I advise everyone, because I took that route. Don't. Know that there's very few things. Maybe look at those things. That's all you need to look at. It's nice to get knowledge. You don't have to listen to me because you want to be as fulfilled as I am by looking at everything and then making your own mind up. But I think a lot of people like Nick and me, we end up in the same place, knowing, look, there's not much to know. So would you rather take the long, painful route to find that out, which I think that's a journey, that's life, or would you rather have a teacher who's been there say to you, look, really, I would advise you not to even bother reading the stuff about the Magna Carta. Do you know what I mean? It's pointless. A contract's between two people. King John signed it, and that's someone else, and that's it. It doesn't apply to you, really. You didn't sign it. And it's like if there's any Americans still in the room, I hope I'm not insulting. It's like, the First Amendment, the Second Amendment. And it's like, so what? Sorry, what part? Where's your signature on this? What part did you sign? And if you do believe in it, and you didn't sign it, then you're a slave to the system that you keep claiming that you're fighting against, because you're saying that those rules made by those people all those years ago apply to you, and they don't, and they shouldn't. You're a sovereign, you're free, no one should have the right to come up to you and ask you what to do or to pay them any money. I've only been paying taxes since the 20s, late 20s, implemented in the 30s in the States. Can you imagine people just living in a little farmland, doing what they do, living off the land, exchanging stuff with their neighbour because they haven't got enough fixed things and they do like fish, and that's how they live. And then suddenly the government comes and say, listen, you guys, you've got to start paying tax on anything that you earn. It's just like a crazy notion, and people don't really see it for what it is because they were born into that system. Anyway, tonight's been a bit of a gripe night, and I'm glad for that, because maybe there was something inside me I had to get out. And I'm not unhappy, to be honest. I've got to say, I thought I'd do this show about those subjects because that's the way it's turned out. So, thanks for listening, everyone. You've been fantastic. If anyone wants to say anything, anyone wants to ask a question about anything I've said there tonight, go ahead and I'll see if I can answer you. If you want to move on to something else, if we can have a little chat for a little longer, even though we've been on for 50 minutes, then let's do that. And as Kenny says, love is all we need. And I think that's true. Love is a vibration, man. You know, whatever it is, but we know it's positive. We attribute the word love to positive things, or the absence of hate, or the absence of darkness. But that's what love is. And I'm not talking about pursuing it all the time and going like, I need love and happy, happy, happy. What I'm saying, when you love, then there's light around you all the time, even in the dark places. Do you know what I mean? It's like you could go somewhere where it's just not good, where people are being mean to you, where someone's trying to hurt you, but you still got your love, and they're hammering at it and hammering at it. And even though you're getting the pain, when it stops, you're like, man, I've done that with love. And I reckon it reduces trauma, and, you know, it helps you to recover quicker as well. So just keep loving. And then when you meet someone else who loves, woo, I can't even start to describe it. I can't even start to describe what happens. Even if it's not like a relationship, I've done that wrong. Even though it's not a relationship, it's a relationship like this. Someone you met on a bus, on a train, someone you met at work, someone you just glanced at. There's that love. And that's why it's worth it. Because when you meet someone with hate, you know, and it's vicious and it's violent and you tear at each other and, you know, it's just not good. It smells, it's nasty, it traumatizes you, it stays. But when you meet someone with love, wow, you know, it's analogous, it's wavy, it's, you know how it is. Ooh. Right, on that note, thanks for being in, everyone. Hello, Bat. If anyone wants to say anything, do so. I'm going to give you 30 seconds and I will sign off. But thanks for signing in tonight. And I'll be doing a show in a week, no doubt. We'll see how it goes. I've got about 6 videos to edit because I've done 4 shows this week, to be honest, and it takes a lot of effort to do the post-processing and put it in other places, and plus research for the new shows. In fact, at today's show, I done travelling on the train and in bed before I went out this morning. So, you know, I can deliver. I don't know if the quality's the same, but I hope today's show went well. I am the OBG. I don't think people really know the true hypnotic power of television. You know how it pulls us in and just keeps telling us to consume, buy, and tells us to hate each other and separates us and causes the greatest divides, all under the name of entertainment. And every time I turn on my TV, it's just like no surprise. It's all of those programs in there pushing out lies, and in between there's the adverts, and they do it again, and they're trying to convince us that we're friends, and they have us trained like good little soldiers. 1, 2, 3, 4.
They say we're going to spend $1 trillion this Christmas, believe it or not.
Watch it again in slow motion. See how mild and good tasting a cigarette can be. Or doctors. Watch it again in slow motion. Watch it again in slow motion. Watch it again in slow motion.